We appreciate the time you've taken out of your busy schedule to join us today. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natalie, and I have the pleasure of being the Pro Bono Director of the Legal Aid Society of San Mateo County. I'd like to start by thanking our pro bono partners who contributed over 5,000 hours in 2023. These volunteer attorneys work tirelessly to bring legal justice within reach for clients facing domestic violence issues, guardianship, and more. Would all our pro bono volunteers, past and present, please stand and accept a heartfelt thanks for sharing your legal expertise with others. We're so grateful for your dedication. In honor of one of the first women attorneys in San Mateo County, the Dorothy Award is awarded to an attorney who goes above and beyond to support our low-income clients in their fight for justice. This year, I am pleased to honor Alan Otis as the winner of the 2024 Dorothy M. Wolfe Award. In late 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, when we were all quarantined in our homes, I got an email from Alan saying that he was in the process of retiring and wanted to use his legal degree to do some good in the community. So instead of spending his time playing pickleball or whatever people do when they retire, he took on 10 pro bono cases with us. He represented clients in guardianships and limited conservatorships. For those of you who don't know what those are, that is helping children remain with families after the parents cannot take care of them, and also helping parents of adult disabled children be able to make decisions for them. Alan's clients included a woman who tragically lost her daughter and was seeking guardianship of her grandchild, and a family who was seeking a limited conservatorship of an adult child with developmental delay, but also mental health challenges. He handles each of his cases with kindness and professionalism, and all of his clients speak very highly of him. Alan has now decided to retire fully from the practice of law, but I'm so happy to present this award to him to thank him for all the work that he has done and wish him all the best in the future. Our next award is given annually to a firm whose pro bono efforts show a deep commitment to ensuring justice for our low-income neighbors. And I am pleased to present the 2024 Guardian of Justice Award to Morrison Forrester. So Morrison Forrester has been one of Legal Aid Society SMC's most consistent and supportive partners for the past 20 years, probably even longer. This past year was no exception. They helped 4 survivors of the shootings at the farms in Half Moon Bay apply for immigration status along with their family members. They volunteered at clinics and have taken on some very difficult litigation. These are just 2 of the amazing outcomes that they've received for our clients. In January 2023, a group of attorneys from Morrison Forrester agreed to assist one of our senior clients who had been taken advantage of by a friend who took his title to his mobile home. The client, who was both elderly and blind, was in danger of becoming homeless. When settlement discussions fell through, they filed an elder abuse lawsuit just settled this past February. And as a result, the client has regained title to his home, and he no longer is in fear of becoming homeless. Last year, Morrison and Forrester attorney jumped in last minute to take on a domestic violence restraining order trial. She even traveled from Los Angeles to assist a survivor who had been abused by her living boyfriend. This was a very hard-fought case, and after a full day of trial, for those of you who do domestic violence law, you know a full day trial in DV is kind of a big deal. she was able to get a 3-year restraining order for the client. I would like to invite Rachel there. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pro Bono Counsel at Morrison & Forster, and in my role managing the Pro Bono program at MoFo, I've had the great privilege to work very closely over the last 15 years with a tremendous staff at Legal Aid of San Mateo, getting our lawyers to take on pro bono cases. On behalf of the hundreds of lawyers at MoFo who have worked on cases with Legal Aid of San Mateo, including 40 over the last year alone, we are honored and humbled to receive this recognition. One of my first cases as a lawyer was a case with Legal Aid of San Mateo. I was a first-year associate and had an opportunity to work with a grandmother who was trying to get guardianship to care for her 9-year-old granddaughter. I do not remember the reason that her parents could not take care of her. What I do remember is that the grandmother was a bedrock support for the granddaughter, providing the kind of care, love, and stability that we want for every child. The work I did was not complicated. I filled out some paperwork, went to a couple of hearings. There was no Supreme Court arguments, no all-nighter. It was very simple work. But for the first time in my practice, I felt like a real lawyer. I remember sitting with the grandmother in her kitchen, and she made brownies for me, and she would send me updates over the years on how her granddaughter was doing, and that gratitude that I felt from her, and the feeling that I had of being able to use my legal degree to make a powerful difference in a family's life. That feeling stuck with me for the rest of my career. And it is something that I hear echoed time and time again from the lawyers who take on cases with Legal Aid of San Mateo and know that they're able to make a transformative difference in the life of a client without too much work on their behalf. And I hear over and over again how meaningful that can be some of the most meaningful work that they do in their entire career. So we're truly privileged to work with the incredible staff at Legal Aid of San Mateo. We couldn't do any of the work without your training and mentorship, and we're just so grateful to have that opportunity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Carducci, and I'm the directing attorney for the housing team at Legal Aid. I have the pleasure of presenting the Natalie T. Lanam Award in memory of a tireless advocate for families that are vulnerable and underserved. Natalie served as an advisor, a donor, and a fundraiser at Legal Aid for nearly 2 decades because she knew that our community is stronger when everyone has access to legal services. Natalie and Judge William F. Lanam devoted many hours to Legal Aid during their lives, and we honor their work through the Natalie T. Lanam Award each year. This year, I have the honor of presenting the award to Ann Marquardt for her long tenure and exceptional leadership at Project Sentinel. Project Sentinel is all about fair housing. The term fair housing is the legal term for prohibiting discrimination in rental housing. It has been a big part of my practice, and that is because of leaders in the field like Ann, who was the longtime executive director of Project Sentinel, a leading fair housing agency in San Mateo County, the greater Bay Area, and beyond. Ann was the executive director of Project Sentinel from 1978 until her recent retirement. Over the years, Ann expanded the agency from 1 office on the Stanford University campus with 2 staff members to 7 offices and 40 employees around the Bay Area and beyond, and serving literally thousands of tenants. Ann and Project Sentinel fought for the fair housing rights of many people in protected classes, including many people with disabilities. to give them equal access to housing opportunities. The work included direct advocacy with landlords to the filing of lawsuits and claims with the Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Under Ann's direction, settlements were reached ranging from a few $100s to $1 million, and securing needed injunctive relief to stop the discriminatory housing practices. Please join me in welcoming Ann Marquardt to the stage.
Thank you, David. When I started out in fair housing 40 plus years ago, there was very little fair housing activity going on. There was some, but very little. We had communities that were generally not knowing the connection of fair housing and civil rights, and we had loads and loads of fair housing cases to work with. But I spent 40 plus years providing a lot of fair housing education with a lot of other people, including legal aid. And it's been a good activity. It got results. We have a much higher compliance rate with fair housing laws. But unfortunately, what that has left, let's say, behind is a different population of fair housing cases. And believe me, I would rather take 100 fair housing cases with the uneducated, otherwise well-intentioned, but uneducated housing provider and settle those cases than the type of cases that you now are facing. You're facing a much more difficult type of case. You're facing well-educated, predatory housing providers that, again, far fewer than 40 plus years ago. But they're still there. The cases are still calling out for your assistance. And I want to thank you, Legal Aid, for being there to take these cases, to fight the good fight. I want to thank you for all the good work you do every day on behalf of the disenfranchised and those being blocked with other opportunities. And I want to thank you for the support and this recognition. Thank you.
Hello again. Our final award was established by Joe Kachet and Kachet Petrie McCarthy in honor of George Corey and Linda Gemello, two distinguished leaders of our legal community who shared a deep commitment to the mission of the Legal Aid Society of San Mateo County. We are pleased to have Justice Linda Gemello and her son Matthew with us here today. Justice Gemello is known throughout her career for her dedication to justice, and she remains a role model today. I'm also delighted to see strong representation from Corey, Lusage, DeCataldi, and Riddle, and Kachet, Petrie, and McCarthy. Thank you all for your steadfast support of the Legal Aid Society of San Mateo County. It means a lot. The George R. Corey, Linda and Gemello Award is given every year to a legal aid attorney to recognize, in Joe's words, these incredible people that work every day for justice for all. This year, the award goes to Michelle DeBlanc, Supervising Attorney and Legal Director of the Family Advocacy Program. Michelle has spent her entire career helping people navigate complex safety net systems. She's represented adults with disabilities, helping them with protecting their rights and their rights to self-determination. She's helped unrepresented litigants navigate the court system. Michelle came to Legal Aid 13 years ago as a volunteer. Unfortunately for us and for her clients, she stayed. She quickly became a staff attorney, and 5 years ago, she took over the leadership of the Peninsula Family Advocacy Program. Michelle helps clients who are often let down by the safety net, children with special needs and their families. The parents Michelle works with are themselves fierce advocates for their children. They've asked, pleaded, and fought for the services they know their children need. In Michelle, they find a champion who uses her legal expertise to break down the barriers that have held their children back. Here's just one example of the hundreds I could give. The parents of a 2-year-old were told by their pediatrician that their child was at risk of developmental delay. The pediatrician referred the child to the regional center, the agency charged with providing early intervention services. The agency never called the parents back. They didn't know where to turn. Finally, another parent of a child with special needs connected them with Michelle. Michelle reminded the agency of the statutory timelines and the penalties for non-compliance, and an assessment was quickly scheduled. Michelle's work has had life-changing impact not just on individual families, but on systems affecting thousands of children. When Medi-Cal was expanded to cover ABA, a specialized therapy for children with autism, Michelle spent over a year educating parents and healthcare providers, meeting with the county health plan, and filing complaints with the state. Her tenacious advocacy made ABA therapy accessible for low-income children in San Mateo County. Michelle, would you please join me at the podium? In recognition of your unwavering commitment to San Mateo County's children, I'm honored to present you with this year's 2024 4-H Gemello.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you everyone for coming. Stacy is the best boss, as she will attest, and also my husband and daughter, who it's her birthday today, so it's an extra special day. I'm one of those people, like I know a lot of you lawyers out there, I'm like this, right? I'm like, I'm gonna get him, and I'm mad, and then I talk to Stacy every Monday, and she's like, all right, we got this, you can get him, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it together, like. So I just want to say thank you, Stacy. Your steady, calm leadership and support has meant a lot to me and really allowed me to flourish in my career, and I really appreciate it. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm the supervising attorney of the Family Advocacy Program. We help kids with disabilities from 0 to 22. Could be a kid with a speech delay, or it could be a child in a wheelchair who never can talk. We will help anybody. That's kind of our motto. And I want to say that now is time for the fun, feel-good story where I tell you about the kid that I helped, and then they turned out fine and everything was great, but I apologize because today I'm not going to do that. We live in the 4th richest county in the country. Did you guys know that? But since we only have counties in the United States, my husband and I decided we're the 4th richest county in the whole world. And it's still really, really bad here. And I'm going to start crying because why is it so bad in this county? There is plenty of money. So basically what's happening is after COVID, kids really, really fell apart. They weren't doing so great before, but I felt like we could kind of, keep the, it was like the dike coming down and I could keep putting my fingers in it. But now it's like, it's a barrage. Do people in this room listen to the daily podcast? Is that something people, I know you all listen to it over COVID, you're probably kind of bored of it now. But if you want to go back, there's a story on April 2nd that talked about what's happening in education, and I really encourage all of you to do it, April 2nd. It really talks about what's going on with kids, rich and poor, honestly, in education, and it's pretty depressing. Basically, kids lost a lot of academics during COVID and a lot of behavioral regulation. Kids were home for 2 years and they lost the ability to sit and listen to a teacher. So basically what we've been dealing with the last year is children being severely physically injured, and I'm not exaggerating, children running out in the street, constant behavioral problems, kids bringing guns and tasers to school. I mean, this is like every day we're getting calls like this. Academics are also at an all-time low. Does anybody want to shout out what they think the percentage of grade level reading for low-income Hispanic students in this county is? Anybody want to shout out a guess? My family knows. You guys want to? Stacy knows. All right. So nobody wants to hazard a guess, I'll tell you. It's 15%. Okay, so we're doing bad. Now, I'm depressing you. It's a really, really nice day. You guys came to this lunch. Thank you guys so much for coming. So here's the part where I'm going to tell you what you can do, right? Because we all care about these kids, right? So here's what you can do. Who belongs to a PTA? Who's on a school board? Who just has a kid in school? All of, many of you, right? Or who is a kid? Who was a kid? All of us. You guys can ask, when your kids are in school, or you volunteer at a school, ask them, how are the low-income kids doing in reading? Ask how the high-income kids are doing in reading. See what they say. Ask what the programs are. Be an advocate. Say, we can do better. We can teach kids to read. There is science out there, and there's AI, which could be supplemental, not primary, but I know AI is a big deal, but we can use AI. We can use a lot of things to do a better job of teaching kids to read, and we're not doing it in this county. So everybody, please give generously to legal aid today. Thank you very much for coming, but also please be an advocate in your community. And I really appreciate you coming, and thank you for listening to me talk. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Well, that definitely has fired us all up, right? All right, thank you. Let's please give all our award winners today another round of applause. Thank you all. I hope that what you have heard today demonstrates the impact your support has when you donate to legal aid to protect accessible legal services for those people, families, individuals in our community. Remember that fulfilling the promise of justice for all requires a commitment from each and every one of us in one way or another. If you have not already done so, I know Michelle has encouraged you to do so, please donate today to give your gift, which will be matched by our generous board of directors. As Sarah previously mentioned, it is as simple as using the QR code right here to my right, or if you have taken the time to flip through our program, you'll see there's an envelope in there. So you can fill out the envelope and you can make a pledge on that envelope as well. And if you just drop that envelope out drop your envelope into the basket on your way out this afternoon, along with your name tags, we would greatly appreciate it. Your contribution, please just remember that your contribution will help us reach another person in our community seeking justice for themselves and for their family. And finally, on behalf of Sarah and myself, and looking at the time, we are right on time. We haven't gone over, so we're going to get you out on time today. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that it's hard on Fridays, and some of you don't live very close by, but we appreciate your effort to join us today and to honor and recognize those of our award winners and to really pay tribute to Legal Aid of San Mateo County. With your continued support and partnership, we can make San Mateo County a more just and equitable place to live for all. So with that, thank you all very much and have a wonderful weekend.